Hi, Annie here. There's a message for English speakers at the end of this video, so please hang around or skip right into the message. And this is Mollymauk, a character from Critical Role. First I'm laying the line art and using slightly lighter grays to kind of start pointing at his shadows, and I'm using a tool similar to Photoshop's finger. You can kind of drag pigment through the screen to also reinforce those shadows. Then I lay out a background, that maroon. I'm picking a bit of that maroon and throwing in the shadows so the shadows won't be simply monotone or grayish. I'm trying to kind of combine everything in the picture and make it look more harmonious. You'll notice at the beginning I've used the photo reference for him, but I did alter his features a little bit. Mollymauk has a dark purple skin. He's a tiefling from the Dungeons & Dragons universe, and that photo reference had a very narrow nose and small lips, and I'm trying to give Molly a slightly larger nose, plumper lips, as my characters usually go to the Caucasian side. They're not very diverse, and I'm trying to bring other features I'm not very comfortable with into my drawings, so I'm trying to bring some of that stuff into Molly. Now I'm using a brush that is very, it's blurry, it has no hardness, so it looks like some kind of fog, something very ethereal. This is what I usually use for skin. You'll notice this in my other videos, although they won't be voiced in English, they will be voiced in Portuguese, but you may be able to notice it watching those videos. And I'm using it to shade hair, to cover big areas on his cheeks and neck. I will gradually use smaller brushes and start focusing on details. Not very small details, or else I may get lost on them, but we're finally able to define some highlights. And now I'm using the smudge tool again to drag pigment on his hair and kind of start focusing on smaller strands of hair, and also filling in his eyebrows. It's a mixture of small brush strokes and a bit of that soft brush. I'm kind of rendering his horns, trying to give them a bit more three-dimensionality. Is this how you say it? Three-dimensionality? I hope so. And starting to experiment with his tattoo designs. I saw that Molly had a lot of tattoos and earrings and rings, and I like the idea of having something kind of interacting with his face, a small chain hanging from his horn and coming to his nose, something fun and strange that perhaps may fit his personality. I'm using the soft brush again, then I've skipped right back into his lips to bring more details, highlights on his nose. Now I kind of cut a part of his face, duplicated the layer, and brought it to the side a bit to expand the top of his head. One way to notice this kind of stuff is to invert your canvas horizontally. Then you'll kind of be able to look at your painting with a fresh perspective again. As my tattoos and rings were in a single layer above everything else, I'm able to lock their colors, so you get to paint them without colors leaking out of the line work. And I'm painting low contrast areas, such as his ear that is kind of hidden under the horns and hair, so it doesn't need detail. It's not something people will be looking at. And if you spend too much time detailing those areas in shadow, you will kind of be stealing attention from the rest of the painting. It usually won't work. You'll notice I used that soft brush again, selecting parts of his face that I imagine would be hit by a rim light, or kind of a light coming from the side. That blue light that now I'm changing and experimenting with orange or white. And it's the same soft brush that I've used for the rest of his face to paint skin, but now much brighter and giving that soft light look. I'm building a bit of texture on his horns and hair, and also using the smudge tool again with a very small brush to drag on his hair and build small hair strands. This can be done either by using the smudge tool or a regular brush, as long as it's small, of course. I started drawing scars on his neck, and now I'm creating something for the background. Big spotlights, I'm a fan of those, or maybe a halo, very symbolic, especially in Molly's case. More texture on his skin, maybe some pores or freckles, also bringing a bit of light from that halo to his coat and hair. His hair needed a bit more volume on the top, but at this stage he is almost finished. And now I'm bringing the picture to another software to refine it, playing with background colors and making that spotlight more circular, not just a smudge of paint, seeing which colors work to bring out his face a bit more. So in the end, I'm coming for a more purplish look instead of the maroon. This is all being done using selection tools, nothing very elaborated, just a matter of patience and having fun experimenting with stuff. As I build this new halo, I notice it might be best to also adjust the light that hits his face, so I'm doing some small adjustment work on the lights that is hitting that horn blink, that horn thingy, and it looks much better in my opinion. So this is the finished work. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My message to English speakers was that so far I've had a few videos talking about my process, but they were all in my native language, Portuguese, and I'm not used to speaking in English a lot, as you may have noticed. So if I am speaking clearly and you can understand it, if you'd like to see more of this, I need to know you exist. So please comment or drop me a message here on YouTube or in my social media. I'm usually known as Annie Baroni in other profiles as well. And also consider coming to check my Patreon or APOIA.se. It's kind of Brazilian Patreon if you are living in Brazil. And those two campaigns help me in posting those videos, editing them of course, and also bringing some personal projects and art to my followers. So thanks again, and even if you think no, and you should study more English, practice speaking more before you bring this content out, let me know as well. Be brutal. See you soon.